it's an expensive proposition.
Yeah.
Building a culture of compliance and security, getting high trust certified, maintaining that stance, applying it not only from a software perspective down to manufacturing, it takes a lot of time and energy. So, we have often found, and we've heard, and I saw it personally before prior to Clarity, when you start to look at capabilities of potential providers and they're focused on a lot of different things, if their footprint is only this big in healthcare, the investment to support it the way it needs to be supported isn't often justified. So
you're taking disproportionate to the opportunity. Yeah,
you're taking a very calculated risk there if it isn't there, and you're going to have to obviously respond to and explain why you did that down the road. So that's a really, really important thing, and it even goes into the experience of, as you think about those providers who are taking data, potentially providing composition services, and then physically producing and distributing communications, how are they reinvesting in ways to make sure that you're safe and compliant as a healthcare organization? So for example, for us, we've built out applications that have safeguards in place around addressing. You see it all the time that someone has put in an errant piece of data that can show up in an address window in an envelope. And, it's a disclosure either about health or about personal information, and making sure that, the applications that take the data and that create communications are actually protecting you as an organization from sometimes those mistakes happening are really important. You can't underscore them enough. And it obviously takes years of experience servicing and providing for it. But, on the receiving end, these are things that I think sadly, probably folks who are listening to this today and in the future, probably going to nod their head saying like, oh yeah, yep.
I've seen that.
I
saw that one.
And or that's happened to me. And that's really important to think about moving forward, so
I'm just even thinking about the example in sort of a casual sense in my mind, but, to a partner that might serve multiple industries, and a file is getting passed around of something that ultimately needs to go out to those 100,000 or million people. What you don't want is for everyone who sends that file to say, oh, by the way, this is a healthcare file. Because if you're in a position where people are saying, oh, this is consumer production, this might be for some other B2B industry, but remember that this one is now we got to put our healthcare hats on. It's almost too little too late. Whereas the alternative being there is nothing but healthcare data here. And so with that sort of high trust badge on is how every row of data is treated. I think that's the difference. And like you said, it's tough to have your cake and eat it too on that. To have healthcare be sort of a subset of the work, but the entirety of the data management expectation, the output production expectation, tough to do culturally.
It's extremely tough to do, and understandably, right? Because you don't have the economies of scale to overinvest in one area. Whereas if you have a very purpose-built organization in and around healthcare, all of the functions start to really mirror best practices, whether that's on the technology side or the manufacturing side of this. You don't need to discern that, oh, this is a healthcare file or this is a healthcare communications going out. The entire process is geared around it and purpose built for it. Not only, on a daily basis, but on an escalating basis around capacity needs as you get to things like year end or open enrollment. The equipment's there, the process is set up there, and it becomes, again, another one of those areas where you need to really see how your potential partners perform under that kind of stress and how they're set up. Because, I've seen it firsthand, again, as a consumer of the industry for a long time.